Hey there, today I'm talking about one of my favorite plants, but you may hate it. I don't know, there's some scientific truth that some of us are born with this gene that makes us totally despise the taste of this plant. Do you know which one I'm talking about? Cilantro. Cilantro is one of those, like, it's like a binary kind of plant where it's like it just makes people either just totally fall in love or totally fall into hate. So which one are you? You have to tell us your vote. Are you pro cilantro or no cilantro? I am absolutely pro cilantro. I could put cilantro on every single dish, especially if I'm having like tacos or fajitas or a salad. Any kind of salad, putting fresh cilantro on there is awesome, which is why in today's video, I want to talk about how to keep cilantro from bolting. I cannot tell you how many comments I get from people DMing me, sending me emails, clients complaining that cilantro just goes straight to seed. Bolting is when a plant sends up a stalk, a center stalk for a cilantro. This is what it does. It sends up a center stalk, which is a different kind of stalk, produces flower heads, and then goes to seed. Cilantro is one of those plants that's very prone to do that. And so we're going to talk about how to keep it from doing that so you can get more cilantro leaves. You'll know cilantro is going to bolt whenever the center stem becomes very hard. And throughout the season, I actually check on my channel. I think we have some other videos about cilantro bolting. Right now, there is absolutely no sign of boltage, which is amazing. You can see the center stalk right here is really nice, soft leaves, just the kind of leaves we want to harvest because we love cilantro so much. So 3 tips to keep your cilantro from bolting. First thing is timing. Cilantro does not like hot weather. So I don't know about you, but when I first started gardening, I'd go to like Lowe's or Home Depot, a big box store, and they would have tomatoes and cilantro for sale in the summer, like June, July, and I like lived in Houston. Like, we're not talking about a mild summer there. And I know why they did that. They did it because it's like a salsa, right? Like tomatoes and cilantro. But tomatoes and cilantro actually prefer very different weather. So in my garden right now, I don't have any tomatoes planted because it's been kind of cool with a threat of frost. But I have a lot of cilantro planted because it loves cooler weather. So that's tip number 1, is plant in the cool season. So depending on where you live, that's going to mean like fall, spring, and if you're in a temperate climate, that's going to mean like winter. Like in Houston, for our Rooted Garden clients, we grow cilantro from like October to March. Crazy, right? So much cilantro. So that's the first cool season, my friends. Second is the type of cilantro. So I prefer to start cilantro from seed directly in the garden if at all possible. I find those plants go to flower and bolt much slower than if I were to transplant a plant. Now I still do transplant, but in general, if I put a seed directly in the garden, those plants will last longer than the ones that I put in from a plant. I think those, you know, celery, cilantro, parsley, carrots, they're all in the carrot family. And most of those plants don't like being moved around. So I think that's part of the reason. I think when a cilantro bolts early, even if the weather's good, it's probably a sign that it got stressed out. And oftentimes that happens if it gets moved around. So that's the second thing, is to plant from seed directly into the garden. The third is to check the variety. So because this happens a lot, botanists and farmers and stuff have worked on new types of cilantro that can last longer in the garden. They'll be called things like slow bolt or long standing. So especially if you can find a seed producer that's in your area, getting cilantro from them is probably going to up your chances because it's cilantro that's used to growing in your climate. And I told you there'd just be 3, but I'm going to give you 4, maybe 5. So 4th way to keep your cilantro from bolting is, if you've been following me for a while, you know what I'm going to say. Cut it. What? That's right. So cutting the cilantro leaves on the regular keeps the plant healthy. It's not having to stress about supporting all this plant mass on the plant, and it keeps it producing new leaves from the center. So if you love cilantro like I do, this is super easy to do. So when I'm out here in the garden and cutting salad, then I'll just come out and also cut a few cilantro stems as well. And I probably overdid it on this plant. I probably didn't leave quite enough, but there are still enough leaves here to photosynthesize. So I'll cut here, and then I'll move down to this plant and I'll do it again. So I'm often cutting the outer lower leaves, leaving the interior leaves to keep growing. And you can see here, see all these new leaves coming from the center? That's a great sign that the plant's got a lot of energy and that it's loving the situation it's in. So that's the fourth. Am I at 4 now? That's the fourth tip to keeping cilantro from bolting. And the fifth tip, it's actually not about keeping it from bolting, but it is, well actually y'all, I keep thinking of all these new tips, but the fifth tip is to plant large plants around it, tall plants. So in this situation, I actually just pulled some of these cabbages, but you can see how I set this up. I have large cabbages and then I have the cilantro in the middle. So the idea here is that as it starts to get hot, cilantro would get shaded by these larger leaves and get a little bit of sun protection. So I know this wants a lot of sun to grow, but cilantro really doesn't need full sun. It can handle like 4 hours or 6 hours of sunlight. So interplanting cilantro with bigger plants is another great way to keep it from bolting. And then finally, this doesn't have to do with bolting. It just has to do with loving cilantro. And that is to just keep succession seeding. So I'll show you how this works. I've got these tall plants here that are mature, but then look right here, right next to it. I have to toss out that rock and I'm gonna support this, but is a new plant of cilantro. So after I seeded this more mature plant, I came along a week or 2 later and added some cilantro seed for a new plant. And now I'm gonna do that again. So I'm just gonna take a little seed and just put it in the ground. So cilantro seed is actually coriander, if you're familiar with that. It's like used in cooking. So you can actually eat this just as is if you love cilantro. But I'm just gonna come along here and right along the same row where my cilantro is growing, I'm just adding some extra seed. Now if it's super hot outside, if I'm in the middle of summer, it's gonna be hard probably to get that seed to germinate. But I'm not losing very much just by sticking a few extra seeds in the garden, and I have so much to gain. So that, my friends, is how you keep cilantro from bolting. Number one, how do we start? Number one, this season is the most important. Growing in the cool season is what cilantro loves. Number two, growing with seed, plant with seed directly in the garden. Number three, harvest from your plant often. Number four, plant your plant near larger plants. Number five, replant with seed. I lost one in there, but you guys can remind me in the comments which one I forgot. Clearly I love cilantro, and clearly I have a million ways to keep it from bolting. Oh, the type, that's what it was. Buy the right type of seed, long standing or slow bolt. This one is called long standing. It is from Botanical Interests. I love this company. And see, it says full sun to part shade. So you can put it right underneath tall plants and protect it from bolting. All right, tell me if you love cilantro or hate it. Either way, at least now, you know how to keep it from bolting. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to learn about growing cilantro, tons of other herbs, I have an entire course all about growing herbs. It's called the Herb Garden Guide. And there's a full ebook that you could start with, or you can dive in, and in the full video course, I teach you all the steps to putting together your own herb garden. I love growing herbs, if you can't tell. So whether you watch that or not, stay tuned and subscribe to the Gardenary channel, and I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. I hope you loved it. Bye.